Hey guys, it's Matt. I want to get your comments, see what you think about this. I think the following is a rather dangerous practice. I'm responding to an email via this video. Someone calls themselves Trinity. It seems I get a good feeling from this person. They have good intentions. I just want to address some issues that they have in their email. I think a certain thing mentioned in the email is a dangerous practice. I've mentioned to you, I remember talking about this a few times in videos over the years, where I'll tell you more specifically what Trinity said to do. But in general, I've talked about it in the past with you guys as I've gotten several of these emails over the years. Matt, ask the universe for answers. Open yourself up and ask for this or that. And to me, this is a highly dangerous practice. I remember talking to you guys in a video about it years ago. I'm not sure how many years back, where I said something along the lines of I was about to do it for whatever reason. Maybe I was frustrated. Maybe I was about to whatever this in general ask the universe, which to me, you know where I might be going with this. It's along the lines, potentially on the lines of a deal with the devil. Now, not the literal devil from the Christian Bible, but whatever might answer, whatever might come in. I was about to do it. So I'm about to ask. I want to be very clear in my intention. I'm not asking the universe or anything out there for anything. And I think this is a highly dangerous practice. If I'm wrong, Trinity can email me and tell me where I'm going wrong. But it's interesting. I wanted to talk to you guys about this again at some point, and this is a perfect opportunity. So I was about to do it, and I thought, well, wait a second. If I ask the ether for something, or what's going to come in? What's going to answer? What am I opening? What armor am I potentially taking off? I mean, not that I'm going to be instantly possessed by a demon or something. No, but who knows? I mean, if you ask for something, what's going to respond? A loving, benevolent God and helpful creatures, or something? If you look around this world, and there's a lot of nasty here. I think there's where we are right now. There's more nasty, whatever is behind all of this, than loving, caring gods or creatures. Just look around the world. I mean, this is a low place. Maybe those loving, caring gods, creatures, whatever your religion is, somewhere else, not really doing much here. I mean, look around. I've commented on this in the past. I don't want to, in any way, this is not going to become a Christian Matt's commentary on Christianity. Not at all. This is the person basically advised me in an email to ask God in general, or ask the divine for this or that, to inspire my soul for this or that. It was what this person put in the email was in no way Christian, but so yeah, I just want to make that clear. It's a general asking of God or divinity, and this person, I'll get right into their email, I guess. I won't give any specifics, but in general, a person was saying to me, Matt, I guess I kind of appreciated it that I've got it narrowed down to a half page from all the complex confusion out there, but they're saying, Matt, that's way too long. You don't need a half page. Ask the divine, or I'm not going to say exactly what they said to say. My first instinct is, again, this is a dangerous practice. I'll look to Trinity to respond to me in your comments if it's not. So I won't say exactly what they said to say, but something like ask the divine for come into my heart or come into my soul. And whenever I've been approached several times over the years with this sort of advice, and the first thing I think about is, well, what sort of thing is going to respond? I'm very convinced, whether it be per the concentric rings diagram, where it's trying to reach in and shake your hand, or however your image or diagram of this reality is portrayed, however you would sketch it out. I'm very convinced that it can't get in on its own. It absolutely cannot get in on its own. You have to let it in. In the concentric rings diagram, it's a reaching out to shake hands. It will tempt you to open the door. Paul McCartney, somebody's knocking at the door, somebody's ringing a bell, and that creep, Billy, Paul, or whatever, he says, "Do me a favor, open the door, let not Nilk in." No, don't open the door. Bill actually has a poster that he made about this. I'll try to find it at some point. No, something is knocking at the door in this reality. Is that what you think Wings and Paul McCartney meant? Probably not, but maybe. He's that sort of a creep. It cannot get in unless you initiate it, allow it. I mean, there's no doubt about that. We're not just saying that to make ourselves feel good. The analogy I used a few months back that seemed to work, people seemed to like it, I don't know where it came from, was Satan can't pull up in his pickup truck and just grab you and toss you in the back. And then I used, for some reason, I changed that analogy over to an El Camino. Can't toss you in the bed in the back. You have to choose to get in. Not just against your will completely. That's why these endless themes are all over the place. They're all stuffed Lennons. They're all Humpty Dumptys carried through time. Faust, deal with the devil. Mephistopheles, Satan, deal with the devil. Robert Johnson, Crossroads, Bob Dylan, the Chief Commander. These themes, they're everywhere. I don't think it's a literal deal with the Christian Satan, but but it is a way of saying that you control your soul, your spirit, whatever you need to do for your spiritual whole here. And this world is designed to be a temptation, so you let that guard down, and you do the deal with it. You make contract with it. And, this person said that he, I'll call him Trinity, immediately got results. And it got a very warm feeling came over him. And didn't go into too much detail, but it seemed like he would say, if he continued with that email, certain understandings or about himself. And I would say, well, how do you know it came in? How do you know what answered when you said, he said in some way or another, without any specifics, I'll let the divine into my soul, or something like that. And, again, we don't want the specifics. I don't want to put any specifics of what was said into your head. So, well, it seemed nice what answered. I would say to Trinity, how do you know it was nice? Just because it felt good? A drug dealer has ways to make people on the streets of Kensington feel good, right? I mean, if the bad guy wouldn't want, if somebody was following a path that, let's just not say the dark path, but a path they shouldn't be on, the bad guy wouldn't make that path seem right, or a dark entity would make it feel good. So even if there was a certain understanding about the world, reality, himself, or the dark typically can deliver. That's Robert Johnson was supposedly a really horrible, very average, let's just say average guitarist, and came back, as people described it in the lore, in a matter of weeks or months, all of a sudden was one of the best guitarists in the world. Well, where did this come from? The dark will deliver. It will grant you the 3 wishes, but at what price? So, to me, this experience, this life experience, is about hardening the armor, our own personal, individual armor. No free lunch, no easy way out. I want the divine to come in. I'm just, whatever I say in this video, I'm not saying it. I'm just using it as an example. All right, Matt, you don't need to over-affirmation this to death. We understand this is not your intention. So, it's about being an individual. It's about actually strengthening the armor, learning to keep things out, in my opinion, not letting things in. That thing's showing its ass again. Keep learning to keep things out. The whole reality is trying to reach in and get you to be, so you develop a false persona, the way, Jung described the total persona, where much of it is false, just and the person being so deluded. I mean, it really gets into the American Psycho. The American Psycho just, I mean, whatever that was, his name Bates, was that the name of the character? Was there a real person in there somewhere? But what did this reality craft and mold? Just some psycho that thought he was embarrassed because his business card wasn't as good as the others at the he was slightly embarrassed that his business card didn't stack up. So this whole reality is asking people in many ways to change themselves so they may contract with it, so they go after its petty rewards and all the stuff that we've talked about. So why would I let again, Trinity? We all need to learn here, and if you think you have answers, then the highest answers need to be challenged. Why do you think whatever seemed to respond was loving and benevolent, when it certainly could have been malevolent? And the other thing you think about when something like this happens is, well, this loving thing, why wasn't it helping you out before? Why would anything you need to ask for it? I have an issue with this even with Christianity. I don't know. There's an entity where it won't help unless you ask. That's not unconditional love. That's not. I have an issue with it. I have a problem with that. Let's take the Christian thing out of this. Let's go back to what Trinity wrote. Whatever this helpful thing was, and it's just some vague thing called the divine or God. Why wasn't it helping you before? You have to ask why. At least the Christian presentation, specifically through the Bible and thousands of years of legend and lore and historical presentation, it presents itself pretty exactly. If you are to accept it, it's clear what you are accepting or getting involved in. Crystal clear, for the most part. There is issues between what Jesus preached and presented and the let's just say the Old Testament. They don't really match up, but we'll leave that for another video. It's relatively clear. Just in general, what Trinity said to do, just ask in general, the divine. Well, if it's why won't you helping me before? Where you been? Oh, so I had to ask. You broke ass. I was just waiting for you to ask. Why'd you have to wait for me to ask? See, there's no merit to what I'm saying. So I don't know. And there's no easy way out here. This is not an easy. Just ask. Everything changes. Just after one sentence. No. Typically, the way the history of this realm has been presented is, if you ask for something and then there's an kind of an easy way for anything, then that is the easy way is to deal with the devil in this realm. The hard way is more of, for lack of better words, of the divine. Figuring it out, tiny little pieces, doing tiny little pieces of work, the slog of decades. That is the path to whatever, the touchy-feely terms of becoming in touch with the divine. Not a quick way. Every single quick way in terms of anything important in this place typically has a nasty element attached to it. Thus, we go back to the same old, deal with the devil. Sorry. I had a hot dog from Rocco's for breakfast. They have it wrapped in this breading and cheese. It's damn good. I'm sorry, but it does little reflux. I'm sorry. The other thing that he said in the email which was a little contradictory to what he was presenting or trying to get me to do. And okay, let me back up for a second, guys. The people that have asked me to do this in the past, I do get let's just say a negative feeling from them, or a negative, dark aura. Now, this isn't my area of expertise. I don't see auras around people. I don't have that sort of intuition. I'm pretty good at interpreting what not milk and dark reality is up to. But I don't get this feeling at all. I get a good feeling with whoever calls himself Trinity. I get a feeling that they're trying to help, and they're a part of our community. Nothing dark at all, just the opposite. So I want to make that very clear. But he said, which is contradictory, something along the lines of our thoughts potentially not being our own. Carl Jung talked about that a lot, but he also conversed with a creature named Philemon. By the way, for full not milk philosophers series, I'm going to do Jung, but not as a philosopher. I'm not. That was more Nietzsche and those clowns. Nietzsche's Eternal Return. I mean, that I don't care what else Nietzsche wrote about. Just to present the nonsense of the eternal return, and that he deserves to be under the philosopher. Carl Jung is very divisive character, but no fool. From some crazy stuff, but some very interesting insights. So I'm not going to. I'll call it Philosopher Series. I'm not going to call Carl Jung a fool by any means. But I still have a lot of reading to do, and Zara's up here. So, back to what Trinity wrote about thoughts not being our own, and does this relate, to how whole movements of people can accept what is being pushed in the last 10 or 15 years as lifestyle choices being the greatest thing of all time, and all the other crazy things millions upon millions of people in this world are accepting, and which is complete. He didn't mention the word download, but yeah, if that's the download, that's the radio station, the frequency. The download would be thoughts that potentially are not your own, but believing they're your own. So he said something in the email about thoughts potentially not being our own, but basically talked about in so many words, like a demon possession or dark entities. That is that the reason why the people are go on these social justice, all the crazy woke crap. I mean, if nobody believed in it, then it wouldn't exist. I mean, it's all not milk itself doesn't believe in it, but there are people, there's lunatics at the grassroots level that believe in all that stuff and believe that's the way society should evolve. And he's saying, well, their thoughts, the only reason to explain how society's changed so radically in 10 to 15 years is their thoughts are not their own, and are they possessed by demons or whatever it may be. And he mentioned something like, well, and maybe they are succumbing to this because they engage in rituals of different sorts, whether they be initiations into societies or whatever it may be. But then in another part of the email, Trinity wrote about a ritual of sorts that he's participating in, and I'm not going to mention any specifics on what that is. He didn't mention, other than the name of it, any specifics itself. I'm somewhat familiar with what he's referring to. But so he's involved in a ritual himself, reached out to some vague divinity for answers. So in other words, you did exactly what you said could happen to people via thoughts not being their own and demon possession or whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean classic demon possession like Azazel from the Bible, but whatever dark things. There's a lot of dark things here in this reality. Egregores, energy vampires, etc. So Trinity, you basically saying you're doing a ritual. You're doing exactly, what you said to guard against. So of course, you'd say, well, what I'm doing is pure. Well, is it? Maybe. I could be wrong. I'm just saying it was a little bit inconsistent, but that's not the point. The main point that I wanted to talk to you guys about is, over the years, I've been approached by, not a ton of people, but the general, ask the divine, ask the universe for this, Matt. Ask Matt, you're close here. Always like, you need to reach out. Always, I have to engage. I have to get in the back of the devil's El Camino. Matt, do you want the answer? It's not. Some of them are more Faustian than others. See, I told you that different ways have been approached. Oh, Matt, you're so close. Do you want the answer? And I was like, well, why would you? Why would I think you have the answer? Who are you? You son of a beach. Who are you? Not, and that's not Trinity. I'm saying this has been approached many times over the years. Trinity's wasn't like that at all. Again, this seems like a good person. But okay, Matt, we got it. Stop apologizing. Okay, I don't. Just want to be clear on this. So it's almost like a Faustian thing, like I've mentioned over the years. That people approach me. Hey, Matt, psst, it's Lefty. It is Lefty from Sesame Street. Hey, Bub, you look like you could buy. You want to buy some air or whatever it may be, whatever the offer may be. Ernie bought the air in a bottle. That's the people in this reality reaching out to whoever proposes the easy way out, proposed by to Faust from Mephistopheles or whoever it may be. To me, that's a dangerous practice. A Christian basically gives themselves over, puts, what is it, Jesus, take the wheel? That's what they do. I'm saying they know exactly what they're getting involved in. Okay, there's thousands of pages in the Bible and other works and scholars and all sorts of things. They know if they're going to say Carrie Underwood, Jesus, take the wheel. They know who's taking the wheel. I mean, they know what they're giving themselves over to. But in terms of, it's a decision they've made to give themselves, put them in themselves in the hands of what they consider their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, which is not mine. Well, okay, I understand that. I understand it's not for me, but I understand that. However, a vague notion of ask the universe, let this in. I want to let that in, or something's knocking at the door. Oh boy, Paul, creepy Paul McCartney. Something's ringing a bell, and he says, "Do me a favor. Open the door. Let the not nilk in." Oh, So yeah, there's a danger. You reach out to the universe like that. So if that, I would still be very wary and hesitant if that's the only part there was to it. But the second part, to me, confirms the first part. The second part is this experience, this life is all about being the individual. Whatever we are, or we're part of a spiritual whole, and whatever we go at the moment of death, whatever this experience is about the individual. It's about navigating the low. It's about not making contract that everything that comes your way, bowing down to its whatever it's being offered over here. This is the place in general to reject offers, to keep building your own armor, to be the individual. The only affirmation that I think is warranted, or in this regard, and I've done it myself, is I feel that potentially this not blocks our learning or our experience, or has potential to block from what I'll say our spiritual whole needs from this. Meaning, I believe there's a part of me or an aspect of me from a spiritual perspective that's not here, that's not in this place. So I've done affirmations saying the not nilk, if it attempts to block, I've removed those barriers. I'm giving myself whatever it needs, whatever learning or information it needs, and it's only going, that whatever that is, whatever my energies, whatever is only going to myself. No one else can have it. No one else has access to it. No other entity has access to it. Whatever this may be called, my energy, etc. Why? Because I said so. If we didn't have that ability, that power to say that, it wouldn't be playing a trick. It's pretty simple. It plays a trick. Is it in one or two things it does? No, it plays a trick in everything it does. In millions and millions of things it does. It plays a trick. Just in the last 10 years? No, for as long as what they call the human has existed, it plays a similar trick. So the trickster is not in the position of power. The one being tricked is in the position of power, especially if they see through the trick. So that's the only affirmation that I've done, where it's like if the not nilk is in some way blocking what I'm supposed to do here, or the knowledge to get out to myself, then it can't. It's those blockages are gone. That to me, that's the only. That's not asking that some vague uh, caricature to or some vague divinity or whatever he's calling divinity to come in. I'm saying this is a thing. The only thing I'm going to allow a direct connection is what I would consider to be exactly myself, not something posing as me, or is it literally myself? Okay, whatever. We don't know exactly what that means. What part of spiritual me is not here? Well, we're Tommy here, the deaf, dumb, and blind kid. We won't have those answers. Um, at least most of us are very blind to those things. If Michael and others have certain abilities in that regard, and or Tony, whatever, to see into the next realm or to commune with higher self, well, that's something obviously 99 point blah 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 we'll never have access to. We're here to be blind. We're here not to know anything about ourselves. We're here to learn a lot about ourselves, rediscover ourselves, and to embrace the low. Not to, that's you've heard me say that a million times. Embrace the low. Doesn't mean try to be lower and try to roll around in the mud and just, I mean, not embrace it, meaning learn from it. The funniest thing of all time is, certain presentations on YouTube that within the course of our lifetimes we will become a 5D being, or no, that's not what this place is for. We'll become a being of light or a transformation of 5D, or we might do all that, but it won't be here. It'll be through the moment of death somewhere else. Or it's not going to happen here. Look out your window. Is this the place to become a being of light? No. It's a place to experience the low, to be Tommy, the deaf, dumb, and blind kid, and then to get a sense at some point that this whole construct is very fake, and I'm not the self that I was led to believe here. I'm not this at all. I'm going to continue to experience this and embrace a lot of it, and and notice the Matt that's here, not try to get rid of it, but to eventually go, this isn't, this reality is, its number one thing is to be believed in. And the most important aspect of that is to get people of all types to believe this is all they are. And whatever persona exists here is all of you. And that this soul or spirit or other aspects of you don't even exist, let alone you have to do things here to serve it. Tony talked about for you and me, our type being the highest level here, the simultaneous incarnation of higher self. And he said, those experiencing the low planes, the material planes or whatever, the earth. I mean, we have to do. We're not just like the little tiny fingernail in the higher self. We're very important, and here, we need to do certain things here. For the whole spiritual whole of us, or we need to get certain things done, and that's why. Well, it's obvious. Why is the not milk endlessly playing its trick, endlessly getting people to believe that they're the all they are is the persona that exists on Earth, and there's nothing more to them. It's always the same sentence: to block what you're supposed to do, or what the higher self needs you to do here. It's very simple. Your job is to see through it, give it what it needs, the whole of you, so eventually we can be done with these sorts of experiences. The not milk's job is to block it. It's really one long run-on sentence. It really is. So you just get in touch with what you need, which is not going to be the same with what I need. Anyway, so I guess pushing... in terms of, I just want to say one last thing. I don't know if this is related or not, guys, but I put bugs out and put spiders out, and there's something I don't know how this relates to what I've been talking about in this video, but you hear a lot with the Native American, a lot of and certain other there have been certain other religions. I believe many people that practice a certain type of Hinduism, they won't kill a bug. I became very much like that, but I was doing a job, basically like moving a bunch of dirt around yesterday, and I needed to dump the rocks in the dirt, and there were a bunch of ants at the top of the dirt. And I thought, how far am I going to take this? I thought, I kind of came to a nice middle ground. I said, well, I can't sit here for hours and wait for the ants will never get out of the wheelbarrow. I can't pick them out one by one. I can't. I need to dump this. If I dump it, all the dirt and rocks are going to fall on top of the ants, and likely they're going to die. And I thought, I kind of came to peace with what I'm going to. I can apply this, or we can apply this to so many different things. All you can do is the best you can. And I said, you know what? I put spiders out. I've put mosquitoes out. I try my best not to kill any innocent, even if it's a bug. And I'm going to do the best that I can. But you know what? I can't be perfect. That is the lesson of this place. I can't get 100% of the bugs out. And I had no choice. I know I might have taken a little scoop of ants at the top in my gloves and with the dirt and put them down, but the rest just boom, rocks, dirt, dumped. And I was at peace for him. I said, I'm going to keep doing the best that I can, but at some point, a lot of bugs are going to die for whatever reason. And if as long as I'm doing what I consider the best that I can, I'm okay with that. And I just thought that's a good lesson in anything. There's the standard of perfection. In this case, every bug must be saved or whatever. I know this is not a great example, but this standard of perfection in this place doesn't exist. The false standard of the Buddha. I'm not expert on Buddhism, but the general notion, as I understand it, is, comparing one's life to the Buddha. That is not impossible in this place. This place is too low. There's too many low things everybody's going to do over the course of their lifetime. And but it's like, you can't fake it to make it or fool yourself. Did you do all that you could do, even if you weren't perfect? And the bug example's not great. But I came to peace with it. I thought, I'm going to save so many bugs over here. Now, I'm not going to wait an hour for the ants to clear my I'll do whatever I can, save a few, dump it, continue my work. I'm sorry. But the bug example's bad on its own, but I thought that applies to everything here. Everything. And the standard of doing the best you can is your own standard that you have to set for yourself. And I guess I'll keep that last segment. I'm not sure. Oh boy. I better stop quickly. Approaching the time where I have all sorts of strange comments about, I know it was a good presentation, but I knew Matt was one of those types of people. Thanks for listening.